Look at this guitar.
You know, I have this guitar my cousin gave to my son, like a cheap $100 guitar that they bought from Chinatown. Chris fell in love with this guitar. Yeah. He said he loved the tone, it sounded really warm, you know. Chris would always play that guitar. I would always tell him, like, dude, put that in the introduction, like, before, you know, we start.
There's something happening here, I think it's obvious. I think we'd be fools to stay oblivious. Flip-flop and big talk, but no real conversation. Big rush, but no trust, is quite the compensation.
Jedi's couldn't fuck. I'm pretty sure Sith Lords didn't get any.
Well, he has his granddaughter.
Jedis can't fall in love, but they're able to have sex.
Yeah, that's not one of those vegans that don't take supplements.
Put it on my.
You should have saved that. No, we're talking about
that. It's all good.
Yeah. It's Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday.
The one you guys just said.
I forgot.
Baby,
Oh,
you fight it.
no, not yet. Well, can be. Yeah, not the song you're thinking of.
I need you to move your mic, from the bottom,
This one?
like that, yeah.
Right here.
You need you to slide it over.
You got it, man. How's the angle?
That's good.
That
That's
good?
good. That's
Get
good.
the hat up.
Sexy baby.
Mask, no mask. Mask.
The angle of
Do
the
I got the mask
angle.
pattern, dude?
I see that. I see that.
Yeah, he blew.
My name is Felipe Roque. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I was born August 25th, 1992. East LA, I was raised in Lincoln Heights. Family calls me Filo. As a kid, I used to spend a lot of time with my grandparents. My grandma would take me to church on Sundays. And what got me going after church, they would have food. So they would have like menudo, tamales, and I loved the menudo. So I would go with my grandma just to get a bowl of menudo. Like I was excited to get out of church and go get that menudo. Even though Lincoln Heights is in Los Angeles, it's almost like a small town in the sense, you know, when kids are from a gang or a crew, word gets around pretty fast. But I never got involved with like all that street shit. I didn't like it. It may have been because I wasn't bored. I was always very like into like creating stories or like writing or reading a book. I guess the one thing I always thought as a kid was like, I want to do something where I can leave behind that would kind of stand the test of time. I started working at the Music Center late 2011. I was like right out of high school.
This is early spring, and the 7-acre site of the new $33.5 million Music Center for the Performing Arts. The ground was finally broken near downtown Los Angeles on the crest of the Civic Center. This center will consist of 3 buildings and will be the future home of the Los Angeles Philharmonic, one of the world's great orchestras.
I didn't like to talk to people, and not because I was afraid or anything. of them, I was afraid I was going to say something stupid. But I grew out of that. I always credit that to the music center, because we have to kind of speak to these rich fucking assholes sometimes. You have to have confidence with them, because if not, they're going to step all over you, man.
I started working there as an usher and probably 2001, because when I went to go and get fitted for my uniform and shit, it was 9/11.
We all met at the music center. It is, for some people, a lifeblood, a dream job. Other people, it's a short dollar that you need for the end of the week.
I kind of moved up pretty quickly. I got into this position. We call it setup crew.
Setup crew is like the most hated on crew at the music center. Because you get the best paying wages on setup. Everybody else has to stay stuck in the house, and we have like a lot of freedom around the music center.
It was a nice place to work. I mean, although we all hated it and still talk shit about it, it was still one of the best jobs I've ever had.
And you've met people that, you know, probably would change your life over there. You know, probably.
Most of the time, you would come in groups. So you spend a lot of time with these people that you come in with, and you eventually get close. Ashley, who is my baby mama, we did meet there. Actually, she came in the same group as Chris.
Ash, my friend, not just someone I know through Filo. Yeah. We have a separate friendship. Me and Filo have our own friendship.
Chris, I never really thought much of him. Like, I was like, he's a cool guy. I never really thought I'd hang out with him. He never really talked to me, to be honest. It wasn't until I met Mike.
You know how we all hang out. I met one person and then just the group just kind of gets bigger, the circle gets bigger.
It used to be a lot more cliquey and shit.
When I came in, there was a lot of cliques.
Right before fucking COVID hit, like it seemed like all of the little cliques were coming together because of the Rev and Filo show.
I remember telling Chris all the time that he needed to start his own like guitar channel on YouTube, you know, like, dude, you know so much. I've learned so much from you. And he asked me if I would help him too, like, you know, record him. What do we need to learn? Come up with sessions, but nothing came of it. I can't really say how early it was talked. I really don't. I'm a pothead too, like my memory is so fuzzy.
So the idea of a podcast for me came about
I've got a very specific memory of when the idea may have been birthed inside of Felipe's head. It was, I think, 2013 or 2014.
The Walt Disney Concert Hall, on the third level, there's a garden, and we would hang out there. So there's tables spread out all over the place. Co-workers would start to walk towards us and gravitate, I guess, towards the energy that was going around, all the laughs.
It was lively, man. It was like a, I don't know, it was like a party almost. And then we had to go up to work.
And then so I came up with the idea of like, man, like if people are enjoying this.
Why couldn't we have recorded that? Why don't you guys have like some kind of setup or a podcast? I'm not sure how common podcasts were back then.
Not a lot of people were thinking about doing podcasts. I mean, everybody thinks about doing a podcast, but like actually doing a podcast, that's the tough part.
And again, we were getting crowds during breaks, so our confidence was just like through the roof from like, oh man, we're so funny.
After he mentioned that he wanted to do the podcast and who he wanted to do it with, I just told him to do it and see what happens with it.
There was a few people that I did talk to about it. That was him, Tom Selleck, also you've seen him on the show.
And Ruben, I think.
Sammy as well was involved.
Sam had actually brought me in as well into a meeting.
Felipe did ask me a couple of times.
Mikey as well.
And I believe Felipe's brother as well, Emmanuel.
The very first person was Peter Folk.
Well, first, his original idea was to have a bigger group podcast.
This was before there was a name, a theme.
I wanted like a Tonight Show. Like I wanted like a band, and we were gonna be hosting and then bring up questions in the back and chime in. I had no idea how much that was gonna take to do or pull off.
People were saying, yeah, I want to do it, yeah, I'm gonna help out, and they never stood through. And I mean, these were friends that we talked to for a long time, so we were okay with that.
When they want to do a podcast, I wouldn't be able to, and vice versa, you know?
So the idea almost died right there.
Some
sometimes at the music center, you see a lot of people that start off with goals, and then little by little, after like the years progress, you see kind of like the fire go out.
But once Chris got involved, he was just all in.
Hello everyone. I do not normally do videos like this, but I had to show you something.
There was quite a gap between when I heard about Felipe's idea or dream and Chris Don's addition.
For anyone who's ever grown up in Monterey Park,
I wasn't sure if Chris even knew what to do on a podcast. I knew he was a musician.
I first picked up the guitar when I was about 12. Started my first band at 14, and I've been playing and jamming and gigging ever since. My dad played guitar when I was young, and I used to see him play. So I wanted to play the guitar just like him, you know? Had he played the piano, probably would have played the piano.
My initial thought was, well, what an odd pairing, Felipe and Chris Don. But my second thought was, of course, Chris Don. He's got the personality, he's got charisma, he's an encyclopedia of knowledge about just the widest array of things.
It's a towel. A good one.
He was a very talkative, so.
Every Jeeves needs his Birdie Wooster.
What's my name?
The Reverend.
Insane. When I was in my old band, Sons of Jimmy, which like that band meant everything to me. When it was over, it took me a long time to like move on and figure out what I was gonna do next.
We started becoming friends once he got on setup, and you know, like you're carrying heavy things, you're fucking sweating fucking together, you're talking shit together. I mean, you're spending a lot of fucking time. You just start to build camaraderie. That's how we became friends. That's why a lot of us, like on setup, like we all became very close with each other. Months go by, and then I remember we were in the lounge, and I'm writing down some notes and writing things that I need to get. He sees me writing on the table, and I'm still trying to get this shit together. Like, it's hanging by a thread, but I don't want this idea to die. First, he comes over, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? And I look at him, and I go, I'm just writing down some things for a podcast. And then he looks me dead in the eye, and he's like, the fuck is a podcast? I don't even remember asking him if he wanted to be a part of it. I just remember him just kind of helping me out and what I need to get for like audio equipment, and then it all fell into place. And when I told him what I wanted to do, Chris was like, no, you're not gonna do all that.
I said, okay, I'm down, but we're gonna have to see it through for a year just to see if we can even keep this shit up.
Then we can start thinking about doing stuff like that. But let's just get through a year first.
Felipe was like, me and Chris are really starting to talk about the podcast.
You know, we started going halves on things like the interface.
They were just on their game. They bought all these programs. They got laptops.
You know, we decided like, hey, if we're going to do this, let's invest in ourselves.
They were really serious about this.
We had ideas about like doing like little bits in here and there. We just write them down. We had a notebook. We wrote it down. He goes, you got me. I'm loyal as shit. It just depends on whether you want to continue to do this.
He really made it happen because I feel like we would have procrastinated on it because I'm a procrastinator. But he was also lazy and shit.
He kicked the whole thing off in a way that made it like concrete and tangible. Whereas before it was just talks and it's like, oh, you'll let me know and let me know. When someone's like, hey, let's do it, name a time and place, and they're there and they do it, it works out.
Even back then, like I was like this shit is gonna be dope.
Testing 1, 2, test your mic.
Testing 1, 2, testing. So happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year, Rev.
Oh yeah, happy New Year, dude. Filo, you didn't say what's up, did you?
I did. Well, kind of.
Introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Filo, and this is our podcast.
And I am the Rev. You didn't know that already.
That first episode, we really had no idea what we were going to do.
So what, I guess we're just going to be topics of the day podcast?
Yeah, or we can talk. I mean, you want to hear a top 10 list?
Oh, yeah, let's do a top 10 list.
I figured, okay, I found all these articles online. I did a little bit of research, and fuck it, let's just talk about it.
So what do you got for us today, Philo?
I looked up this study. In 2017, people took January off of drinking. It was all curated by Dr. Richard D. Visser.
Good reading.
Yeah, thanks. We recorded episodes before that one, like unofficial, and we didn't like them. I was trying to be funny, and then at some point I realized that doesn't work. You can't have two fucking funny guys on there. That just gets annoying. And the benefits from all three of these surveys.
You mean there's benefits from not drinking?
Yeah, dude. Who would have known? I thought,
I thought drinking was required for long life.
I decided to just, you know what? I'm just going to feed him information and kind of like cast my line out there and kind of hook him and see if I could get him to say the craziest fucking shit I could ever get him to say.
Would you date a porn star?
Would I date a porn star? Yeah. Well, I mean, like, what does that mean? Like
date him, like
date him,
like
or
you feel like maybe she's the one.
Like, oh yeah, like, so you mean like love him?
And so we recorded it, and he was like, okay, that's the episode. So we edited everything, and then we realized we don't have an image for YouTube. We don't even have a name. So we hit up J-Rad, and J-Rad fucking was like, I got you. Here's the image. Fuck, well, we need music. J-Rad sent us, boom, here's the music. All right, cool, well, what's the name?
Originally I thought it was called Back to the Culture, I think.
We even thought of a name called Broken Pallets, because, we worked with a lot of pallets at work. And then I just told Rev, like, dude, fuck it. The Rev and Filo show. Let's just do that. And then he was like, fuck it, I like it. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Welcome to the Rev and Filo podcast. This is our official first episode.
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe not. We'll see how this goes.
I kind of didn't want to drop it. I was telling Chris, like, I don't know, maybe this should just be another practice episode. And he was like, no, fuck that. We're just going to drop it. It dropped, and I was surprised on how many people watched it. Within the first 2 hours, we had like 150 to 200 views.
That's really nothing, but for our little audience, that's pretty much all our coworkers and maybe, some of my friends.
When I heard they came out with a podcast, I'm like, yes, I'll listen.
The first episode, it was like you could hear the timidness, because they're still trying to get used to listening to themselves in the headphones and like talking into a mic.
You know what's funny is Christian Bale, he's super British.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's so good at an American accent. So when he comes on, he's like, whoa, what is going on here? Of course it's not right.
That first episode, I can't even remember why Mike wasn't even in it.
Woo! Coming to you live, Rev and Filo podcast. Ladies and gentlemen.
Mike was kind of like our hype man, like saying shit in the background, laughing. Mike and I both don't even remember how we met. We just know that, we were cool when we met each other.
I remember seeing Filo around. I thought he was Filipino at first because he kind of had slanted eyes and his brown skin. So I didn't think he was Hispanic.
Mikey didn't want anything to do with recording podcasts. He just wanted to play music.
They had wanted to do like, Jimmy Kimmel. They have like that live band. That never came about.
When Chris and I started talking about it, Mikey just kind of overheard us and was like, damn, that sounds dope. Chris, being his friend, and best friend at the time, was like, fuck yeah, Mike, if you want to come in, come in and record with us.
Start slowing down. All that shit is gonna start reducing. You're the way you
When they asked me to collab too, it's like an honor. I was happy.
What the fuck are you looking up?
I know, just talking about my stomach. Jesus. You're fucking Googling nacho cheese.
Hey.
That was a pretty cheesy.
Yeah, that song was kind of cheesy, bro. Everyone unsubscribe right now.
When we did that episode, we called him up and we told him, dude, it's gonna get dropped tomorrow. We're coming up with a name. We can throw in like Rev, Filo, and Mike, or the Mike, Filo, and Rev show. We were like playing around with whose name was gonna be where. And then we're like, so do you want your name in the title? And he listened and got quiet and said, nah, fuck that. You guys gotta have your name in the title. He goes, so if this shit fucking Christian's birthday, it's on you guys, not me.
I specifically didn't want my name in the title. I thought it was going to be more about them, and I would like to be, like the guy on the side that's just, their friend, their collaborator, their friend,
It sucks that people don't believe in global warming. It'd be a lot cooler if they did.
It'd be a lot cooler if they did.
I mean that two ways. Write that one down.
I got it.
You got it? Yeah. You know what? We should do a global warming bit, and then you can say that line.
Yeah, no, that'll be a good one.
Yeah.
Be a lot cooler if you did.
It'd be a lot cooler if they did.
We were fantasizing like we're the three Stooges,
Anybody want a vamp while I'm looking for this shit? No? Okay, great. Great improvisational skills, guys.
Thanks, man.
You didn't stop talking.
Oh, shit. Well, that's a fucked up thing to say.
I don't know. It just felt like natural to be the three of us.
Three's better.
J-Rad was involved with the show from the very beginning before Chris.
When we were talking about it and shit like that, like I was working 4 jobs and trying to support my wife and 2 kids. That was the only thing that stopped me from being more involved, you know, in doing more shows with them. Behind the scenes, like I was always doing whatever I could.
He helped us in other ways. He didn't need to be on the show. He was a part of the show and he didn't need to be a part of it. And then anytime he wanted to be on it, he could be on it.
I got a new tattoo. I'm going to post it on our Instagram. In case anyone wants to check it out, the Rev and Filo show.
He's trying to show it to the microphone.
J-Rad was like the anti-Chris. J-Rad kind of gave Chris a run for his money a little bit.
The one they surrounded was a white guy.
No, the one they surrounded was a Native American guy.
Oh, so it was white people protesting.
No, dude, they were both
different. Yeah, there was 2 different.
Dude, this is a fucking gonna turn into a protest right now. I don't fucking understand right now.
He would always make fun of Chris's nose all the time, and Chris was so sensitive about it.
When you drew the photo of us for the thanks for making my nose particularly noticeably big, and it really.
Filo got the glasses, you got the nostrils.
In J-Rad's defense, Chris loved talking shit to J-Rad, even though J-Rad would always burn him. Like J-Rad was always getting him back.
Sometimes Don would just be like so mad that I would be clowning them and shit.
I can't make one fucking move without you fucking being like, "What's your problem, bro?"
Well, you had to get mad.
Why are you getting sensitive?
I'm not sensitive.
And I think Chris like took it like as a, I'm gonna win this game.
Like we would get to the point where he wanted to fight, but he's just like, man, why you always fucking with me, man? And I'm just like, dude, because I love you, man. You know, like if I'm fucking with you this hard, it's because I love you, man.
And that was the whole idea of the show, was to just show everybody that we're just a bunch of friends hanging out together.
Why don't we do end of the show freestyle?
Fuck, there you go, man. I can't do it. I'm not drunk enough.
I kind of was like, I hope I don't get asked to freestyle or some shit, you know. But then, because I always do.
Yeah, let's do the fucking other topic, man.
Oh yeah, let's do the other topic. Come on.
Out of nowhere, he would do this like beatbox, and it would be like the hypest fucking beatbox, you know, like.
Do that other topic. Let me kick a little freestyle real quick. Cause you know my breath smells so bad it might make you sick, but I
think that's what happened that day. I think that's what ended up happening.
Sometimes I think that J-Rad doesn't realize how important he is to the Rev and Filo show.
I love doing the show with them, man.
So when we got to that 3rd episode and we realized, okay, these are the people that we want to be in on the podcast. Like, this is us. This is the Rev and Filo show.
Stop it.
Sure, I was just getting warmed up.
The first time I saw him, I was maybe about 14. And I saw him playing his guitar, and this guy looked like he wanted to be the coolest guy in the school. But for me, it was more like, look at this guy. He looks like such a dope, and he thinks he's so cool.
If I wanted to like talk to a girl or seem cool, I had to like do shit. You know, I had to like learn how to play the guitar.
Growing up, I was kind of a punk-ass little pissy kid. So I had that attitude about a lot of people I met.
When I was like in the 5th grade, I went to LAUSD. I was considered a good student. Shortly into 6th grade, we moved over to where my parents live now in Monterey Park. That's when I really started to struggle in school.
At a certain point, I would go to like a group of friends so that we all hung out together, and he just showed up one day. We just started talking, kind of just clicked. Before you knew it, we were boys. Monterey Park, where we grew up, is a tiny little town, and it's even smaller if you look at the minority of Mexican Americans that are there, of Chicanos that we all grew up with. It's like, yeah, you know, we're all the outcasts of this certain city. Let's hang out together. It's Orlando, and there's me and my brothers. He's right kneeling in front of me. And there's Chris in the bottom, and then the 2 white boys of our group on the left, Foxworthy and Anthony.
Well, we'd always kind of jam. There was always guitars around, you know, someone beatboxing, someone like freestyling, or just like doing some covers of songs.
And I was never really a musical guy. I would just hang out in the back or on the side, film them, record them, like talk shit, make fun of them. But they didn't really form a group until all of them decided to get into hip hop.
When we used to do Full Show Kids, which was our fucking hip hop group back in like 2011, we wrote a song called Do It With the Smirk.
I do it with a smirk. I do it, yes I do it, yes I do it with the smirk.
You know, we started doing shows, we recorded some songs, and man, it baby blew up.
We all thought they had something going for a while because they knew how to bring down a house. There was a little bit of a falling out point between all the FSK.
When there's a group of people trying to get towards one goal, there's always going to be personality clashes. It's fucking inevitable.
Of course it was about a girl, man. But he never really talked about the musical side of things anymore after the Full Show Kids.
And then they started SOJ.
When I was 19 is when me and Drew decided we're going to start a band. That became my entire life. And that's what I had wanted. I wanted to be in a band. I wanted to play guitar. And I loved it as much as anything.
Like, I remember going to his first show. From the first song, I was like, this shit's fucking lit. Like,
they fucking brought the house down every time they played.
I always thought Rev would do stuff with music, but that was the first time I looked at him. I'm like my boy's gonna make it, like.
We got ourselves to a point where we could have been a real working band. At that point, I was like, this is it. We got to take it all the way.
Seeing him up there on stage and, looking at him not just as a homie, but as a fan of his work, it was a new feeling, in our friendship.
They had the potential to go somewhere. As far as I remember, that was a long time ago, and all we did was get fucked up back then. So it always became 4 in the morning. We ended up at someone's house just getting buck wild all night with those guys. That's how I remember them, honestly.
The thing about drinking is that you kind of have to learn how to drink.
A lot of our relationship revolved around drinking.
See, now that I'm older, I know how to drink so that I don't end up like that. No, wow, okay. The other day was an exception.
We would have a drink during break sometimes, after work.
On what level do you drink? Because you seem to have a much more high tolerance than I do. The other day when we were drinking,
right?
I was gone, bro, and you always seem to be in control.
Because he loved to party, especially when I first met him. There'll be times where we're okay, we're gonna record. Chris would party, and we was like, yeah, I got you. We'll be here. And then the next day, nothing from him. He just couldn't get up. It was too wasted from the night before. And sometimes it would go on for 3 days like that. So he said, dude, I gotta stop. This is getting way too much.
Okay, so we started a no drinking thing, right? I haven't drank in 2 weeks.
Nor have I.
Mike, last time we drank? Yesterday? Okay, that's good.
And we were doing pretty well up until, I want to say, the last week.
I was telling him how that I still haven't been drinking, and how good I feel. I'm I just everything's coming together. The podcast is going good. I'm starting to work on more music. My energy's up. I'm waking up early. I'm feeling all pumped up for life and shit.
I gave in to the drinking.
Mike's homebrew. Whoa! I haven't been drinking, and I did 33 days.
Yes.
But I had a drink today, and I don't fucking regret it.
A couple weeks after that, he was like, yeah, dude, when you did that, he goes, I was like, oh, fuck. Now I'm alone. I thought maybe if Felipe was with me, I could do this. I could actually do this. But then you didn't. And now I felt like, fuck, now I'm completely alone, and I don't know if I can do this. I felt so fucked up, dude. I never felt like I let anybody down like that in my life. But I never told him that. But then towards the end of his life, he really turned it around, and we were getting episodes out a week.
Liquor stores closed down, and the alleys are dead end.
Yeah. One of the first guests we actually had on, musical guests, Ty Creasy and Cleve the God, Cali's Most Wanted.
Cleve the God, Ty Creasy, what's up? Welcome.
Cali's Most Wanted is in the building, finally.
I'm glad you guys came.
What Chris wanted the podcast to be was just him and I, or just, when Mikey was involved, it was just the three of us. But then I started realizing that we can use the music center as a way to pull artists out and, show off their work. He was like, I think you'd be fucking, you really think somebody's gonna want to fucking come on our podcast?
Straight in dedication, we gotta stay patient. Then blow the ties off the...
So the very first person I asked was Ty.
And he was telling me how they already did a few episodes, and I was like, okay, well, you know, me and Cleve was like, we'll watch it, you know, we'll play it in the car, you get me?
They ain't fucking with me and they not tempted. I ain't gonna be that nigga.
And Ty was like, hell yeah, like I'm fucking for it, like this.
We're just now working on our group project, but we was already ready to promote something. So it's perfect timing.
I look at Chris and his eyes light up, and now he's all for it and he's 100% in. I was like, all right, cool. I'm glad it was a good idea.
Strength and dedication, we gotta stay patient. Them blow the ties off.
At the time, we were kind of going back and forth between Chris's house and Mikey's house. Chris was like, fuck it, we'll do it at my house. Guys Most Wanted shows up and Chris calls me in like a panic. Where the fuck are you guys at? They're here already. So me and Mike rush to the house. We get there and Chris is kicking it with Ty and Cleve and he's having a good time and they gave him Logic.
I gave them Logic.
And it was almost like nothing happened. Like
we got them real high.
Ty comes in with Cleve and he shows us like, y'all ready? Like he has this like big fucking bag. He already had some blunts rolled up, ready to smoke. So like during that whole interview,
man, they would not stop.
We pulled up with a lot of weed.
Good weed too. And they were still good. They were talking, and then like I see Rev, and Rev is like just like stuck.
I just want. I don't mean to interrupt you, Ty, but I think we had like 3 blunts go around. Right? I can't even see straight.
It was extremely comfortable. I was extremely hyped because like they asked me some deep questions like about songs.
I was listening to some new music earlier.
I was already
and
whoa, he already has rap.
Yeah, we actually we were listening to a SoundCloud the other day, with J-Rat.
Dude, I really liked spoken word.
Dear God, why am I still alive?
I wanted to make sure that this being one of our first musical guests, to know everything I could about them.
Filo had a whole list, you know what I mean? Rev was ready on the time. Filo had a whole list. I was like, that's spooky. I'm like, you got a whole list ready for me?
Putting the work in too.
Yeah,
That's
and at
the same time,
I'm telling you, he had the whole notepad ready. He's on it like that. You get me? So
I think he even called out Rev at one point.
Felipe did his notes, man.
What do you want to add?
Where you at?
I was sleeping, man.
That's where the dynamic comes when you're like teeter-totter.
Yeah, he can sit back because, hey, Rev had that voice. You know what I mean? You got to talk with that. I need the highlight of it, and that laugh will get me to laugh, too. It's like, all right, let's keep it going.
I don't know if it was a secondhand smoke, you know, the environment that we were all in there vibing together, or maybe it was a combination of everything. I was like, man, this episode is fucking great.
Hottest beats, we flowing like the fucking sink. We plotting for that chili cheese and cornbread and collard greens. Money is all I.
It was a great vibe. So we was able to just talk. You know what I mean?
My young and hungry for that cheese. I told him chill. The plan is green. The victim pulled up on the scene. Ski mask on, don't know it's me, unfortunately.
The following people have subscribed.
So yeah, people are talking, and it's starting to feel really good, really good. We had been telling people that, hey, we're doing a podcast, like you should listen. And Chris was on this idea of like, we gotta hype this shit up. Like we gotta hype it up and tell everybody at work, like we're gonna do it. And he's over there telling people like, we're gonna drop this podcast. Like you gotta listen, right? You're gonna listen, right? And we're like, Rev, like, yeah, it's cool. And like, sorry, I apologize. He's acting like an idiot right now. Sorry, you know, I'm pulling away from them. So I think that's what got us the views in the beginning. But then after that, the views started to drop, you know, a little bit. Those numbers seemed really low to me. And he would always tell me, he goes, don't worry about the fucking numbers. He goes, don't worry, we're just going to put out stuff and people will listen. And it's funny because he would tell me that and then I would tell him the same thing sometimes. And I think that's why we did so well together. If I felt that way, he was there to pick me back up. And then we'll go to work and then people tell us like, hey, when's the next one coming out? Then we'll feel good again. And we're like, all right, let's do the next one.
For our listeners, it's all 7 of you.
We got half a dozen fans all around the world.
Half a dozen fans? That's not bad.
Half a dozen fans.
Some
all
people
around.
have like half a dozen.
Because we had no idea how to grow on Spotify or anything. Like we're from the 90s. We didn't exactly grow up with social media, nor did we even use it to its, you know, potential. But we did understand that what we were missing was marketing ourselves, and we knew we had to do that for Instagram. We knew we had to do that for Facebook and social media, but we just didn't want to do it.
It's the Rev and Filo.
But there were always the loyal listeners that came to us like, hey, when's the next one dropping? Like, there's people today that have been watching since day one. Like, I can name like Angel Pacheco, Leah, Chris's dad, Chris's, his parents, his family, Dave.
Dave's first episode, we had him on because we wanted to talk about his game streaming.
Because at that time, Dave was doing Twitch.
Controller I use.
I don't think we really got into too much of it because once Chris gets going, he gets going.
But you know what movie I saw on the way over there that I was like, man, this is a great movie? Hook. I was all like crying and shit, sitting next to my dad. All like,
Robin Williams, man.
You're not
fucking
Peter. Dave would hang out. I've hung out with Dave at work. He's well read on most things.
Time travel and UFOs.
You can have very interesting conversations with him.
Normal guys talking about their junk on camera. No, off camera.
You can really just converse with him any way you want.
What was the question?
But I never once thought of like, let's get Dave on the podcast.
But it has been discussed.
Chris was the one who wanted Dave and pushed for Dave to get on.
I was talking to Rev, and he told me to drop by.
Thinking about it now, I kind of wish we would have got him a little bit earlier. He turned out to be very great. But if you look at his first episode, it wasn't that at all.
If you have it, put it up on the screen.
And then Rufio's like, are you going to follow that drooler against Capitan Hook? And he goes, I'm the pan now. No one's going to take it from me. Oh, man, that movie. I was getting all like, best supporting actor, Rufio. Rufio. Oh.
We're spiking.
We're spiking hard.
Yeah, first time I was like, I didn't even talk much. It was just me interjecting on the sides because, I was like a fan since day one. I wasn't a guest. I was watching it live via first person.
I mean, I
Are
felt
you
like
feeling it? You have anything to say?
Yeah, go for it.
Go.
Y'all like video games?
Dave's been with us, man. He's a part of the show now. Like, there's no way anybody can say Dave is not a part of the show because to me, he's just like Mikey and J Red at this point.
Back to you.
Sammy Castillo's the nicest fucking person. Sweetheart. He was helping me reinstall these posters at work. And then I'm like struggling and I notice he's not holding the door for me. So I'm like, hey, what the fuck? I look over and Sammy's holding a roly-poly stretched out in his fingers in between. I just see him staring at the roly-poly stretched out, right? Like, and he just goes... And
ripped it in half.
Fucking creep. And then I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And he goes, I didn't want you to see that.
Yeah, because he's a sick fuck. Sammy, we're not friends anymore.
You creep.
If you ever meet Sammy's the sweetest fucking guy you could ever meet. Like, he's so sweet. He gets drunk. I didn't realize how fucked up Sammy was until he sees these black fools.
Oh man, I don't really. We should already stop.
And he just starts getting irritated that they're like right in front of him, and he goes,
"That's racist, dude."
Why'd you say that?
It wasn't exactly how I said it, but
we don't condone racism at the Rev and Filo show.
Of course not. I would always tell Sammy's story, whenever I had the chance at work. Since we were doing the podcast already, he's like, how about we just tell, a few stories that we've done from Vegas. We can get the guys in.
I don't remember me coming up with that idea.
Tom, say hello.
Hello.
Thank you.
Tom,
how much Evan Williams have you had today?
A lot.
Sam, say hello.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Yeah, thank you. Too much. Scale it back.
That episode was not Rev's idea. He actually didn't really want to do it.
There's a reason why they're here, to tell some Vegas story. I wasn't there, so you guys can take over, honestly.
He's always been big on keeping the podcast small. He said 2 is ideal, 3 is all right, 4 is our max.
Peter's in the studio. We don't have enough mics for everyone, so we have to share. Say hi, Peter, since you're sitting there.
Sometimes you don't realize you're saying things.
We're drinking. The sun's starting to come up. Peter, he disappears. And I think one of us heard that he was going to the restroom. He's sitting on the toilet with his pants down, folded in half. I think he tried to take a shit and he passed out.
I didn't even plan. I don't know why I said that.
At first, I was like, oh, I can't believe they said that.
And then I decided to go to the restroom, and then I checked the toilet, and I just see a big turd. But I don't see no toilet paper, like in the toilet, and then I looked around and I tried.
Like I felt like I was on a roll. These guys were laughing. It was Rev's first time hearing all these stories.
Peter, Sammy said you took a shit. You wiped your ass? And he just looks at us and his eyes open wide. He's like, oh.
Then I moved my ass and I felt like, oh shit, they're right.
It was almost like this like high.
And what's funny is Peter's brown.
Brown like shit.
So like if anyone would have looked at your ass full of shit, it probably would have looked like there was nothing there.
Yeah.
But I'm glad because a lot of people enjoyed that episode.
The Las Vegas episode, I think, is where you got the high benchmark for the Rev and Filo show in my mind. I remember feeling for the first time like, wow, I am legitimately entertained. Like this isn't just Schadenfreude. This isn't just me watching because it's my friends who are doing this. This actually has an arc.
You know what? This was fucking a great idea. This was, this is the funnest podcast we've ever done. In my opinion, I'm having
Vegas, baby.
Happy Cambodian New Year to Tom Selleck and to Peter over there.
I was having a casual conversation with Tom Selleck. Tom Selleck, his mom is a huge fan of the actor Tom Selleck. He doesn't say a lot in the Vegas episode. So I started talking to him and I told him, why don't we do something for Cambodian New Year? Tom was like, Cambodian New Year, there's not really a lot to talk about, but I am down to talk about Khmer Rouge. He kind of saw it as a redemption from the Vegas episode.
He wanted him to explain his side because his side was more the army side. Ours was more of the re-education.
I hit up Peter.
I was kind of hesitant. Who would want to listen to that? Genocides and murders and all that shit. But, Felipe kept on insisting.
I told Chris about it. Chris was like,
let's do it.
To understand
for a history lesson on the Rev and Filo show.
Very educational. I think it was like one of the most educational shows. It definitely was a change of pace, for sure.
Tom, I feel like we didn't really get much out of you, or maybe we didn't ask the right questions.
The 2 times when we had Tom on, very talkative, right here. Once the mic's rolling.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
Every time were because he was sitting next to me, and I will kind of nudge him.
Great guy. He was never shy to say anything. He spoke his mind, and he comes on, and again, he doesn't say much.
Afterwards, we try to drink a couple of beers.
Peter goes to me and he's like, hey man, I just want to, thank you for doing this. It felt like you cared about it, and not a lot of people care about Cambodia and what happened to him. It's almost like they got fucked and that's it. Thank you for doing that research. Really appreciate that, man. Tom looks at me and he's like, hey man, no, what Peter said, he's right. And thank you for doing that. He goes, but man, and he was mad. And I go, what's wrong, man? Like, you're right. He goes, don't invite me anymore, man. I was like, what? Like, why not? Like, you can come in whenever you want, man. Like, what do you mean don't invite you? He's like, I can't talk in front of a mic. I can't do it. You'll get used to it, man. He goes, I don't know, maybe. He goes, but don't invite me anymore, man. Like, okay. I go, man, it's not like that. We'll try it again next time. He's the kind of guy who would have dropped anything. Like, if he was good friends with you, he would drop anything he was doing. And if you needed his help, he would go. Unfortunately, he passed away.
Tom Selleck, thank you for coming as well.
Thank you to Rev, Filo, Mike Munoz. There's 28, single Cambodia.
Today's a special show because it's just me and Filo again.
Yeah.
Just like old days.
Just the two of us.
how do you feel? You're the one who pitched me the podcast. So now here we are. It's fucking
We're doing it,
June, right? Is it June?
Yes.
It's 6 months. How do you feel about like the podcast in general? Like how far we've come?
I think we're at a good pace, dude. We're definitely doing what we said we were going to do.
The podcast at this point costs us money.
Yeah.
Will it ever make us money? Fuck, I mean. Got no money.
But Chris and I always said that we were trying to make this our business and trying to make money out of this.
Making a good living is so important to like having a comfortable life. But like, does money make people happy? Right now, I could go like work at the post office, I should say, right? Move up, get a 401k and maybe save and buy a house and go to work towards retirement, right? I think about that and I think about the future in the long term and I feel nothing but like unhappiness. We know we really like push. We could probably make some money at the MC, moving up into the offices or being an engineer or something.
No, we were probably like 15, 20 episodes in. I got offered a mentorship for engineers at the music center. Every 2 years, they choose somebody to be a mentor and they pay for their school. They also pay them to work. I didn't know what to do. I felt like, okay, well, this is going to be the end of the Rev and Filo show. It just didn't feel like it was possible to balance the two. We're doing the bills and we're like down to like our last couple dollars and we're like, fuck. And I sit there and I start thinking to myself like, fuck, man, I do need to get myself, maybe I should get like a full time. And I was right here just looking outside and I heard the birds chirping and it was nice fresh wind coming in. And I was even playing the podcast and I was like, man, it's not so bad. Yeah, I'm broke, but fuck it. I mean, I got a fucking roof over my head. Yeah, I'm still happy with what I got now. I knew the decision I wanted to make, but I didn't want to do it without Ashley. You know, I said, hey, they offered me this position. It's really good pay. This is a career path. I'm going to be able to take care of you and Ethan. You know, we're going to be well off. And she just said very sweetly, I don't want you to do it because I know you're not going to be happy. We're happy. And I know that job is just going to suck the life out of you. So I don't think you should take it. And I said, I'm glad you said that because I didn't want to take it. And then so I went to Chris. I went to him and I said, hey, they offered me this position and whatever. And then his face, I don't know what he was thinking, but like it looked like his heart sank because he was all in it with the podcast. He's like, so are you going to take it? And I said, I'm not going to take it, dude. Like, I don't want to take it. And he was like, all right. He's like, hey, I know I've told you before that you need commitment. He goes, but now I know you're committed. I'm in it, whether we sink or we fucking make it to the top. I'm in it 100%. And I'll never forget that.
What were we saying? How Mike was telling you to get a real job?
Oh, yeah, because Mike goes, get a real fucking job.
Right.
I told him, man, fuck you. I got a real job. Right. And and the podcast to me is a real job. Chris was like, you know, what Mike told you, you know, some people are realists and they take real jobs. He goes, but you and I,
we're dreamers.
Yeah.
Dreamers get dream jobs.
We had about 17 or 18 episodes that we did before we went to video. As time went on, people continued to ask, how come you guys aren't doing any video? I had always planned to do video. Finally, I told Chris, we could do it. Why don't we just do it? And he was like, all right. He goes, you want to do video? Let's do it.
I should probably start by addressing the elephant in the room. His name is Mr. Trunks, and he's right over there. All right, get him out of here.
We had already invited the Bunker Hillbillies over to record on the podcast, and the idea was to just get them to play songs and just bullshit.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rev and Filo show. You done taking notes, Felipe?
Done.
Thank you. That's the I was going to call you the Beverly Hillbillies.
I told Chris, you know, let's just do the video. I know we can pull it off.
This is the first show we've ever filmed, and I feel oddly nervous about it.
Yeah, I can see my double chin. I don't like it.
I realize we don't have a mic for Sammy, but you ain't got nothing to say anyway.
Fucking dogs do it again, bro.
It was supposed to be a 4th of July episode too, and it didn't even release on 4th of July.
I think it came out in August or something like that.
It wasn't as great as we thought it was going to be.
Some of the video went out at some point on someone.
We didn't have a lot of days to plan for that. We had like 2 days or 3 days before we told the Bunker Hillbillies to come in, and we were like, let's just do it.
No one wakes up in the morning and says, I want to join a cult. It usually happens so gradually, most people don't even realize it until long after the sodomy starts.
This founding father was a key figure in creating the Constitution and its first 10 amendments. We were just fucking around with the whole 4th of July theme. John Jay, John Adams, Alexander Hamilton, or James Madison.
Ooh,
I want to say one that's not on there. John Hancock?
John Hancock?
No.
I just wanted to say
John Adams.
Just want to say cock.
It wasn't until I got home and turned on the evening news that I realized, only hours before, I'd been standing face to face with Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker.
And like doing that whole fireworks or porno fucking names, you know? I'm gonna give you a name, and then you gotta figure out, you tell me whether it's a firework or a porn movie. Unexpected Visit.
Oh, that has to be a porno, dude.
It's actually a firework.
Oh, what?
Hello Neighbor, Dirty Little Secret, Fuego, 5-inch Invasion.
Oh man,
That's
firework.
That's gotta be a
It's
porno,
firework.
dude. That's a porno.
Firework.
That's actually
Because
that's
they-
the name of my upcoming memoir. Black poles and white holes. Firework. Go figure.
Firework.
I laughed too hard.
Backdoor Sluts
You seen
9.
that one, huh? Backdoor Sluts 9.
That's a
Firework.
firework.
Who knew it? Hey.
Honestly, that episode though is one of my favorites because it's got great music in there.
I think I got it this time. We're doing Rev and Filo. I know all about Rev and Filo. There was even this one time that Rev and Filo.
Foxworthy, oh man, that EP he was playing. That
Yeah,
that was
Pete
really
Worthy,
dope.
honestly, the party was a success, I guess,
Yeah.
right? Everyone was telling me that.
I want to thank everybody for coming out to the Rev and Filo's first annual music showcase. Thank you. Hopefully everyone got fucked up and had a good time.
The whole idea of a live show has always been my intention.
The Ayana birthday Rev and Filo bash, I guess you want to call it. Or I think it was Ayana's birthday bash presented by Rev and Filo show.
The backyard boogie, don't let me start. That was amazing.
A lot of the times the show ideas would come like straight from work because we were spending a lot of time at work.
We were all hanging out one day after a shift.
Ayana was like, J-Rad, I want you to perform at my birthday party and shit.
And he was like, that sounds like a lit idea. And I was like, oh my God, and we could have Ty. And then Felipe was like,
Who doesn't like live performances?
and I was like, how cool would it be if you guys were to host it?
We have all these people that were willing to get on the show, and I told Rev, I think we could get them all together to do a live show, and maybe we could even record it.
You just wanted to have musical performances by people who had been on the podcast, so that was like me, Ty, and I think someone else.
And Rev was like, you're out of your fucking mind. They're not going to want to do that. People might not even show up.
Rev was kind of like, nah, this just not gonna work.
I don't know what it was, but he was shooting it down really hard. I took it as an opportunity to be like, fuck you, Rev, I'm going to do this.
Then it just became like this whole thing.
They went all out.
We built a stage out of pallets from work. We bought some lights to light the stage.
They made posters.
We pretty much made that show happen from like trash at the music center, like the stage and shit.
I just remember thinking like, this is gonna go completely wrong.
Rev wasn't even there. He had to perform, so he came after. So I had to set up. It was kind of stressful, like trying to find out the times and figure out when people can get there.
But then all like, you know, the guys like Felipe, Tom,
DJ Gotti, man, he was such a big help.
everybody started showing up and they were helping.
The show went on.
They used to wow. I never saw like a whole job get together and go crazy and just have a full party and be cool with each other.
That was the day where it was like all the cliques were there.
It was damn near 60, 70, 80% of the whole job pulling up to one house, kicking it.
The thing is, mixed races too. So like nobody was discriminating about anything. The mindset is all the same.
If I'm not mistaken, people were getting tattooed there.
I did like 6 tattoos and made a little bit of money. It was a good experience having to hustle while everyone is partying in the background.
the whole atmosphere just built up. Like next we're gonna have.
Yeah, the streets got the heat, the water stay warm. I said the block is hot, that's why I got this ice on.
We got to perform a lot of songs that night.
When I open my eyes, I'm not surprised.
Before Ayana house, I can't forget his name, but we used to make bacon at his house and get bacon. We just go crazy.
Get him. Dude, when J-Rad went on,
yeah,
I looked around the backyard, like,
and like, yeah,
it was like
everybody was like,
there was nobody was playing beer pong.
Right, everybody was holding it.
I didn't know that it was gonna happen like that. Like I felt like super pumped up. It was my first show that I had done in years. It felt really good, man. It made me remember like who I really was, because I felt like I had lost touch of being a performer and an MC and shit.
This one time we were all hanging out at the Walt Disney Concert Hall, and this bird flew into the wall and died. J-Rat went over, picked up the bird, whispered something to it, and it flew away. True story. Think about it.
Come on, yeah, put your fucking hands up, come on, yeah. So put your.
Who doesn't want to showcase what they got in front of all of their friends and shit?
Yeah, this shit is a lovely backyard boogie. This is how Los Angeles does it. This is how we do it.
It was pretty lit, especially with all like the lights and everything.
Oh, dude, it was fun.
Did you talk to Ayana at all after?
You know, there was a moment that day of my party that I was just so happy to know that I had friends that wanted to do that for me. It's just like you don't have friends like that, and I feel like they were going out of their way to help me. They did a lot. Like, it wasn't simple, you know? And the way it turned out was because of them. Like, till this day, I think that was like my favorite birthday party I've ever had. It was so perfect.
The fact that they made that event seem larger than life was nothing short of awesome.
Like, that shit was popping.
There's definitely some stories from that party, and
the experience itself, that people who were there, that type of self-referential, oh, you remember when this happened, ends up being the whole spirit of the Rev and Filo show as it is.
There was like a few people at the music center that wanted to start podcasts and shit afterwards.
People started coming out that we never really talked to, and we're like, let me get on your podcast.
That means that we help motivate people a little bit, at least, just lighting that spark, like, you know,
to bring it all full circle, like to see the artists we brought in to perform for people. Jenna tattooing there, and then Ash, that was her first time ever selling her micheladas to people randomly. Like, it made me feel good that we were able to pull something off like this and do exactly what the podcast was about, showcase our friends and the people that we like to surround ourselves around.
It was a good party. Shit, I don't know.
It was good, but yeah, I mean, thank you guys for coming out, everyone. J-Rad, Cali's Most Wanted. I thought he didn't give a fuck. I thought he didn't care at all. That night, he did tell me, he's like, I'm proud of you, man. You did it on your own. I'm glad you fucking didn't listen to me. Honestly, I felt that way because I was trying to protect you from feeling like, oh, fuck, I did a lot of hard work and nobody cared about it.
I don't know. I always saw that Chris was destined for greatness. He was the opposite. He had a tremendous amount of self-doubt. He overthought everything. He also felt he was too old to do anything. He thought he was too old to be successful in the music industry. He thought he was too old to be successful in entertainment.
Just to get back home.
I think it has a lot to do with his previous band. I think that really fucked him up, like, in a lot of ways.
I know he had a lot of regret with the Sons of Jimmy.
After that, he was heartbroken, you know, because he felt like they were a family.
Showbiz, it's emotionally like violent. For a lot of people who start a band or start a hip hop collective or start a dance troupe or start a podcast, 98% of the time, there's no success. But we lost as much time as I put into it, there was a lot of time wasted getting high and sitting around and sort of just being young. As well as, like I said, you have a lot of downtime, and it's like, well, what am I going to do, read? You know what I'm saying? Like
the drinking and the drugs, and I think that all went along with, you know, Sons of Jimmy and losing them.
And I know that brought along a lot of self-destructive tendencies that he developed.
I gave up a lot to be in that band and to keep it going. when it was over, it was hard for me to move on.
And I think he felt alone in the sense where he couldn't control his habits.
When they first broke up, we weren't living together. He was still at the other spot. Chris was in a shithole fucking roach house. I remember we used to go there. I'd wake up, there'd be a cockroach like, hey, what's up, sitting right next to me. So I told him, like, look, man, I have a room for you. It's way nicer. So he moved in with us. And over the time, we broke up, me and my ex. It just became me, Chris, and Ryan. And that kind of stabilized our situation in that place. Of course, he was looking for something to do with this time.
Being a solo act, I found was very lonely. And then I kind of started to think, well, I want to get back in the game, and I was thinking of how to go about it. Do I start a new band and this and that?
I tell him, like, dude, why don't you like start something you're good at? You have all this equipment for recording. You know, he would be in his room recording music and playing his shit. I didn't know he was gonna start a podcast.
I started seeing the Rev investing in equipment. He said, he was gonna do this podcast with Felipe, and I was like, damn, like that's perfect for you, bro, because you fucking talk.
I used to kind of even like bag on him like a little bit, like, who wants to hear you like about you getting a stomach ache from like eating McDonald's or something like that.
It was something he really seen himself doing.
It became more than a hobby, for sure.
And he had a great voice for radio. I would always tell him that, like.
He had all this talent that I was trying to break out of him, and, he found the podcast. Him and Felipe found it together.
What is time? What do you think time is?
They don't really know what time is. Like, they don't really know what it is. They just know that it exists, I guess. If we were immortal, then would time exist? Would we keep track of time the way we do if we never had to worry about we're gonna die one day?
I think the show eventually became what the initial vision was.
In the realm of music is really about tempo.
Where it did eventually just feel like you were sitting in the same room as these guys.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Having some conversations that were serious.
Would you fuck a robot?
Some that were more kind of flippant.
Like a fuck a robot.
There's definitely a bunch of episodes where we just start talking the sauce about
smoking weed.
Anunnaki, big dick.
On some issues I'm liberal, and on some issues I'm conservative.
The director of Freaks.
You cannot read.
Also directed what 1931 Universal monster film?
You'd have gaffs.
Wolfman.
You'd have bits.
Elephant Man.
You got games being played.
Dracula.
Nosferatu. They're dead.
There are other episodes where we talk about like
drinking.
Your dad came in here, blazed me out. Time goes by so fast, dude. It's the Rev 2019 Thanksgiving FS.
And then sometimes it just goes so fucking slow.
Time is that little feeling inside where you're like, oh shit, what the fuck am I doing with my life? That's time. Welcome, Mike. Welcome, J-Rat.
This will be the last show of the year.
So this is also the New Year's show.
Happy New Year.
And we're going to take a shot, and we're going to get really drunk in the next hour.
The Christmas special kind of spoke a lot to me about how they all interacted with each other. They wore the hats.
Well, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas. You're making me wear this stupid hat.
Yeah, you don't like it?
Nah, it's kind of cool.
I think Filo looked really funny too.
Remember Captain America had a banana in his ass. The New Year's Christmas one, we wanted everybody to see that we were drinking for that one. Yeah. Chris, while we were talking, he would put his hand under the table and sneak a shot. By the end of that, he was gone.
Yeah, Christmas episodes, give me that motherfucking bottle. I'm about to take a little shot. Go ahead.
I think the gifts kind of expressed how just their friendship and how they all came together and just how they talked.
I got a sick ass fountain tip pen. Shit is dope.
That was all of them. Whoever was involved in the podcast consistently with them.
That year meant a lot to us, that New Year's. Just celebrating the fact that we made it happen.
Now I gotta get you something.
Hey, you guys don't have to get me shit. Just want to let you guys know I appreciate it.
Especially for me, it meant a lot because, you know, it took me years to get a crew together that was 100% in.
I just want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of this.
You're welcome. Thank all you guys.
Yeah, man.
For joining me for the ride.
We did it, bro. It's like a year and we're still doing the podcast. Congratulations, bro. You fucking stuck to it. And it ain't fucking easy.
It's weird. Every day it kind of feels like it's not really happening.
You know, it just happened to be 2020 and then we kind of ate up all that hype about like new decade, new me, you know.
You guys got any New Year's resolutions?
Maybe, you know, something new. Try to better your life somehow.
Come out of the gates running.
All right, guys.
Well,
to a new decade.
Cheers, man. Hell yeah.
The Rev and Filo Show.
Rev and Filo Show.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Cheers.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
You know, unfortunately, you know, a lot of shit happened, you know, from then to now.
Well, thank you guys for listening.
Hey, take it
thank
easy
you guys.
on that.
Subscribe,
Take it
comment,
easy.
hit that bell. We love you guys. We're going to do it for a whole nother year.
Keep
We're gonna
subscribing.
We'll see you guys in 2020.
Felipe, hello.
Yo, what's up,
Nice
Rev?
to see you again. I like to do the podcast sometimes just me and you. I feel like it's a chance for us to sort of like reflect. You know, it's tragic what happened to Kobe, but it almost in a weird way feels appropriate. Kobe was a living legend. He was this larger than life sort of character, and like almost like sainthood that's been like bestowed upon him feels appropriate. It doesn't feel over the top.
When he passed,
Yeah.
there was this sense of like, oh fuck, what are the Lakers gonna do now? Well, and here's why. I'll tell you at least how I.
The episode you're about to watch or listen to was recorded before the government recommended social distancing and stay-at-home order. Here at the Rev and Filo Show, we are all about stopping the spread of COVID-19. And the only
We're not in our studio. We're in Jenna's tattoo parlor. Is that what you call it?
When we had planned to do that episode, it was February, I think.
So we're ready to tattoo.
We're ready to tat. I don't know how interesting this podcast is going to be.
It was just a normal year. We were doing children's concerts at the music center.
Wow. It's kind of true what they say. Like when you get a tattoo, it's low-key like addicting. And you know me, I'm addictive. I have an addictive personality.
End of February, I think, is when they started to cancel shows. And then by the time they were done editing or had it ready to go,
COVID hits.
There's been a lot going on with the coronavirus. It seems like every day it gets worse. The country is shutting down slowly. Thursday they sent us home. By Friday they were saying like stay home. And then I thought to myself like, man, you know, by the end of the weekend, like this will probably blow over.
LA Philharmonic is canceling its entire season at the Walt Disney Concert Hall.
And then it just fucking snowballed from there.
everything like starts to kind of snowball. The lockdowns happen.
Okay, so what is closed? Public events, dine-in restaurants, entertainment venues, and convention centers.
The scary thing is, it's just not ending. We're still in quarantine. California is kind of overdoing it with the restrictions.
People, I think, recognize the need to do more and to meet this moment.
This whole quarantine, you know, it's been going on for a while, and like, it kind of really like got to me this week.
People will self-regulate their behavior. They'll begin to adjust.
We're essentially going to lose like a year of our lives. You know what I'm saying?
And adapt as they have been quite significantly.
It just sort of got to me this week, and I started to get very kind of sad.
Home isolation is not my preferred, choice. I know it's not yours.
I was just over it.
But it's a necessary one.
I mean, it's a curse and a blessing. Was I really that happy before the fucking quarantine started? What am I doing? What's gonna happen when this is over? What's really the answer? And the answer is that the answer is different for everybody.
Rev, he hated the Zoom episode. We kind of took some time off. We didn't even do an actual episode until a few weeks later. I think maybe even a month.
I know it's been a while.
Quarantine sucks.
We're still quarantining. I'm sort of getting into it now. For me, I've been using it as a time to like get a hold of my bad habits. Pretty much all the shit I've never done my entire life. I've been doing now. Yeah, the last like 6 weeks, I've been like the best 6 weeks of my life. And I have been like using this time to like work on my music more. And I've also been focusing a lot on writing.
The pandemic started to hit. Some artists that we had didn't want to come in anymore.
I remember they had asked me to, but I was still like, in the beginning, I was like, we got to quarantine, we got to do this, we got to do that.
Chris was like, okay, it's just another obstacle. We can just go back to doing me and you, this and that. But I told him like, well, we're in a role with all this music. Like, you're an artist. You have this platform on the podcast. Let's promote your stuff. Come in and perform. Let me interview you. Let's see how that goes. At first he was like, no, like, dude, nah, I don't want to do that. Let's just do a regular show. And it took me a little bit of convincing to try and get him to do it. But then eventually he was like, okay, you're right. Let's do it.
I always wanted to be a writer. Songwriter, even when I was a teenager.
He was a little bit nervous.
This was Filo's idea.
Actually, really nervous.
This one I wrote relatively recently, but I was on the fence about putting it out.
You put your heart and soul into whatever you're creating. It's almost like your kid going out into the world. You're afraid that the world is going to be shitty to your kid. That's how Chris felt.
This song, I know it's a good song. I'm really proud of it, but it's also exposing myself in a way. But I decided, fuck it, I'm just going to put it out.
Drug Dealers, I loved it as soon as he showed it to me. I told him, like, dude, this is a really good song. Like, you continue working on it. And this was like early on in the podcast. He was holding on to that song for a long time.
This is called Drug Dealers. Drug dealers are friendly, but they're not your friends. That song is about struggling with drug addiction and dependency, which is something that I've struggled with, but also a lot of people struggle with. They'll take your money and they'll take your soul, make you forget just how to get back home. I wanted it to be almost like a mantra. Anyone can sort of relate to it. It's a cry for help. It's me telling myself, I don't want to die. So why am I doing this? 3-1 and 905. It's 4 a.m. and we're looking for one more life. That whole middle part is my thought process. Dialing the number, already being high, but needing more. Am I in control or am I not? Drug dealers are friendly, but they're not your friend. I could blame it on the phone number, I could blame it on the deal, but ultimately it's my fault. Drug dealers are friendly. The funny thing is I put it out. I got a phone call the next day, and I was like, hello, and they're like, hey, what's up? And then they started crying. And I said, I'm not doing well right now, and I need help, and I heard your song, and it really got to me. I want to change, and I want to do something because I'm afraid, It's kind of cliche to think, I want my music to affect people. I want it to, touch people's lives. But in this specific case, it did.
Man, love that one. It's very catchy.
I almost didn't put it out because I was afraid of making myself vulnerable.
He wasn't worried about other people. He was worried about opening up to his family about it. And he was worried about what they were going to say.
I did it anyways, and I could potentially have saved somebody's life. You know what I'm saying? If I never make a cent off this song, is that not worth something? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's like they say, a life is more valuable than anything.
I said 2 Adam 18. On the Fentanyl trouble on Wilshire, we're handling this. It's going to be a business dispute.
Let me see your hands. Let me see your other hand.
Please,
both hands.
Do nothing.
Put your fucking hands up right now.
All right. I appreciate that.
There's a movie.
Put your fucking hand up there.
It's a bit of an old movie.
Put your fucking hands on the wheel.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
It's about a specific neighborhood.
Please don't shoot me, sir. I didn't know, man.
You know, there's racial tension in this neighborhood.
I didn't know. Stop resisting.
There's sort of this scuffle between some people in the neighborhood.
All the time when they come, especially when that man stood that gun like that. It's very pretty.
These cops show up.
Yeah, what is it? He's a good guy. George Floyd, she said. George Floyd.
Spell that?
They end up strangling him to death.
I'm claustrophobic, man. Stand up. I'm claustrophobic. Stay on your feet and face the car door. I'm dying. I'm not resisting, man. I'm not.
In front of everybody.
Let it please.
You enjoying it. Look at you. Your body language is crazy. Look at him. He's not responsive right now, bro. Bro, are you serious? You gonna just let him sit there with that on his neck, bro?
They strangle him until he dies.
The whole climate was, if you don't say anything, you're against us. We thought to ourselves, are we going to do a regular episode or are we going to talk about it? I don't know if he had many, but this is one of his times where he was very wise and he was like, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I want to talk about it. And he goes, you're a good person, aren't you? And I go, yeah. And he goes, well, I'm a good person, right? And I said, well, yeah. And he goes, so why can't we talk about it?
The police, they're fucking bullies. They're murderers. I think bullies is putting it lightly.
Well, these cops in particular are fucking murderers.
Mama.
I was very emotional about it. When I heard the man screaming for his mom, the first thing I thought was like, what if that was my son? Because not only was it an officer, a white officer, it was also somebody who you were supposed to trust to protect you in the community.
Right.
And then you see him take a black
on your
man's
neck.
life. He was super calm about taking this man's life. Rev, he was more logical about it. I kind of let him take the reign.
Black people were dragged over here. A black person was considered property. So that's how deep that runs. So for a guy to put his knees into a guy's neck and just kill him in front of everybody and feel he's justified.
Yeah, he didn't see another human being.
Yeah, he doesn't see another human. He doesn't, he sees property.
Bro, check his falls, bro. You bogus, bro. You bogus. Don't do drugs, bro. What is that?
You hear the argument, black people kill more black people than
I hate that fucking
Or
argument.
Mexican people kill more black people, or Mexicans and black people are killing each other, or black people kill more white people. And it's like, yeah, but who's getting away with it? You gotta go to war. It's the only way things are gonna change. The climax of the movie is the main character, this guy named Mookie, he gets a trash can. In sort of response to the killing of this black kid, he throws the trash can through the window and he starts a riot. I realized it wasn't ahead of its time. It wasn't a movie about, oh, this is what's going to happen in 2020.
Yeah.
This is a movie like, this is what goes on in our neighborhoods already. Those days, it was very rare for people to have cameras.
Yeah.
You have to make a movie to sort of like make it into art to get people to notice it. Now, everyone has a camera in their pocket. Racism isn't escalating, it's just getting recorded. It has an ambiguous ending.
The Lord is my
the question is, did Mookie do the right thing when he started that riot? Did he do the right thing? Was his actions justified?
And at the end of it, like, I felt good about doing that episode. There was one person who actually came up to us. It was Leah Chapman. And she was like, hey, I'm very grateful for you guys doing that episode. And I know that your show isn't such a serious show, but the fact that you guys tried tackling it the best that you guys could, I just want to tell you guys thank you so much.
How do you tell you?
What's up? That's what we would do it. What's up, man? What's up?
Chris always had something surprising to say.
It's like, you know how good, like, we go to work, we go on break, then back from break, faded. The pen was perfect because it's like you hit it real quick and had to go to the parking lot and smoke a joint and now walk all the way back. You know what I'm saying?
See, you know what's funny? Like back in the days, we used to get the gloves from
The guy's only
Tina.
curse was that he didn't know how to shut up sometimes. And the Orlando episode, Orlando was great, but Rev was a little hesitant to have Orlando on because, you know, he felt that Orlando talked just as much as he did.
I think it was 2011. I was making beats at a weed shop in downtown. And some guy came and he saw me making some beats and he was like, oh, yo, man, what are you doing? You know, you're making beats and shit? And I was like, yeah, man. He's like, yo, what's up, man? They call me Prime.
You know, prime time, rhyme time, because every time I stepped on the mic, it was prime time.
And it turned out it was Orlando.
Fuck every gentrifier that comes up on my street. So I met the Rev in high school.
Orlando got me the job at the music center.
Nice.
Jordan's the one who, you know, the patented name with the phone number.
Before we even recorded it, he was like, if Orlando starts stepping over you, like, I'm going to step in and let him know this is the Rev and Filo show.
Me and Chris didn't, you know, like, me and him didn't always get along. There was this unspoken rivalry with us. And, like, what started as, like, us just, like, bickering at each other about stuff just kind of turned into, like, more of this, like, camaraderie.
We go on break and Orlando's like, yo, what's up? Let's go Blazer real quick. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, dude, we only have, like, 15 minutes, like, on break. Like, what are you talking about?
I imagine him
and he was
telling
like, don't worry about that.
For such a prestigious place, such foobotry goes around on the regular.
Rev always felt like he had to be in control of the conversation.
If you start going off something and in the middle of that you say something that triggers a thought of his, he will just like be like,
wait, what did you do? I missed that. I started thinking about this other story.
Or he'd be like, wait, I stopped listening to you a while back. But look, let me tell you why.
No, because I'm going to tell another story right now.
Yeah, I remember there was times when we would have to call him out, like, hey, fuck, dude, let him finish real quick.
We would get the gloves
Give me
from
the short,
Patina.
the paraphrase version. Schedule the end.
Fuck. Gloves, weed,
okay,
smellless, odorless.
Would you have a spray of some sort?
No, the gloves.
Hey, well, we're just
The gloves.
Let's go to the story you were thinking of in your head.
Odor on Other people would also tell him too. It was like, hey man, like the show's good, but you know, like you're talking too damn much.
You know, like his family would say, that Filo talk. Yeah, it was funny, but he cut you off and I kind of wanted to hear what you were going to say.
So me and Asher,
you know, worried. Real quick, what's funny is
I can see my
now
brother.
You can realize, like,
going back to being young and having that.
I was trying to do the Kermit sit.
So after that was said, Chris came up to me. We were drinking one night. And he looked at me and he was like,
is that true, Felipe? Like, do you feel that I'm taking over? Or like, do you feel like I'm like stealing the spotlight, you know?
Yeah. And I told him, like, no.
Felipe was just like, look, man, I know to get, you know, for you to get where you're going, like, I got to let you just work it for a little bit, you know?
You know, a couple weeks went by. We were drinking again. It was just me and him in the back. And he looked at me and he was like, hey, man. He goes, I know, like, I cut you off a lot and stuff like that. And I'm sorry I do that. And I go, no, dude, it's fine. He goes, but no. He goes, oh, hold on. You know when to
step back. And there's a genius in knowing when to allow others to shine.
He goes, dude, you're my Dave Grohl. I'm Kurt Cobain and you're my Dave Grohl.
He might not have, you know, the performance background, you know, that me and Orlando might have being musicians for so long, but he clearly understands it.
It wasn't just that he talked, he was great at talking.
Hey, Orlando, you're pretty good at podcasting, bro. I gotta hand it to you.
I had a great time. No, thanks for having me.
We might have to have you back. we've been having kind of a good week.
So Chris, he had a girlfriend when I met him, and they didn't work out because of the band that he used to be in. Then the band breaks up. He's with another girl at that point. He also loses that relationship as well. So Chris was in a sort of a weird kind of headspace when it came to like relationships.
I don't think he ever really sought out a companion. Like, he never went out and put himself out there.
Even when he was with the other girls, it was, he was a good guy, but at the same time, it was kind of like he knew it wasn't like, a long haul kind of thing.
But sometimes I felt like deep down inside, he longed for a relationship.
We've been having a good week. Our numbers are up on Instagram. Our numbers are up on the YouTube. Personally, in my personal life, I've also been having a good one. I met this girl.
The first day he mentioned her to me, we were camping, and he gets a message on Instagram, and he's like, yo, dude, this girl Shirley, I know her from high school.
And she actually slid into my DMs. And can you blame her? Look at me. I got 103 subscribers on YouTube.
Well, she's telling me like, oh, I listened to your podcast. I really like it.
He would tell me like, yeah, this girl from Monterey Park, she came back in town. She added me on Facebook.
And he was like, yeah, but what the fuck does she want to fuck with me? I ain't got shit going on.
I would always even jokingly, I would tell him, you should ask the girl out. She's feeling your boy, dog.
And then eventually I pulled the trigger and I said, wow, I know we can't really go out because, I don't know what the regulations are in bars or restaurants. I go, so why don't you come over to the house? I'll make you dinner.
Oh, I came home and motherfucking house is clean as a fucking bird.
I saw Rev that night, and he had the puppy dog eyes and everything. His room looked clean. He had his AC out, and I was like, damn, he doesn't bring that shit out for anybody, not even his goddamn self.
He was running in circles like a fucking headless chicken.
I left at 4 a.m. that night, and they were still there. I was like, something's going on.
We end up spending the whole weekend together. By Monday, we're like texting each other. Oh, I think you're so great. I think you're so great.
From that moment on, we started to notice that he was the happiest we've ever seen him. Happiest we've ever seen him.
And I'm fucking doing backflips and shit.
Sean told me something too that I didn't know about. Chris, he was in his room, he was listening to some music. Sean passes by, and then Chris stops him and is like, hey Sean, I finally understand what all these love songs are about.
And even one night, I take her to the taco truck, right? I live in East LA, taco truck capital of the world. And, she's Asian. So, I try to amp up my Mexicanness, and I'm like, well, let's go to the taco truck.
I need to be exotic too.
Yeah, and I even roll my R a little extra pastor. I even get that little extra roll,
In her ear.
This was getting really fast.
And she goes, well, I really only like to eat tripas. What? I was like, I love you. Like, that was my response.
Just watching both of them post up stuff like nonstop, I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's right. I got a little annoyed. I was like, oh my God. He wanted the world to know. Like, really? He wanted the world to know he was in love. Power of the P, though, right?
It was beautiful to see. He was happiest I'd ever seen him,
You could see it in his face, the way he was. Like, it multiplied who he was on a positive scale.
I'm glad that he got to experience that with her.
He really narrowed down his path, his search. I think he was ready to bring it on home. And the podcast was going great.
Yeah, now I did. And you're recording?
I am. Yes, I am recording.
Okay, cool. Just make sure your hands in the frame. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Cool. Yeah.
Woo, that was the hardest part.
That's really the hardest part. Now, pretty much, we just hope the equipment doesn't fail. Oh, wait. Not recording.
Oh,
now we got to do it again. Now recording the audio.
Here we go.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. We got special guests with us today. We got Navar, who's an old friend of mine. We got Angel. They're entrepreneurs, much like me and Felipe. They have their own business, but where we dish out comedy.
Yeah, we dish out ramen.
We dish out ramen.
We believe art can be anything. And Rev was a lover of food. I love food. Chris and I talk about food all the time.
A couple tacos,
fried chicken,
2 types of cheeses.
Well, it was one of the things we kind of bonded on, like always trying to tell each other, like, damn, have you tried this?
Chicken in the oven.
Hamburger from McDonald's.
Some asparagus.
Tamale. Have you tried that?
Sandwiches. Beans. Salmon. Huevos. Cheetos.
Let's go try this out.
Cake, candy,
Butter. Every podcast, we would always get breakfast.
a burrito,
Even if it was in the evening time.
veal,
A lot of the times, it was technically a mukbang.
salt,
Pulled pork with chili verde.
pepper.
Potato salad.
I don't like mayonnaise.
Bread and shit.
Coleslaw. Does coleslaw have mayo in it? Bargua.
I'm gonna eat that.
Carnitas. Oh yeah, back to mayonnaise. But then
Roasted cebolla.
let me fuck with some of those fries.
It was like, you know, going to lunch with your friends, but we were recording a podcast at the same time, too.
It felt good, but you almost taste a heart attack coming on.
Good, tasty.
Before the interview with Chris, I hadn't seen Chris in over 10 years. And it's not that we didn't talk, it's just our paths didn't really cross anymore. Up in those back hills over there, we used to drink 40s and freestyle and smoke blunts and shit. And down over here, we used to do the same thing. And right around over this bend right here, we used to do the same thing all in this one big ass park. This is a fuck around park. It's cleaned up now, as you can see, but before, like, somebody actually took themselves out on that tree. There's been like murders in this park. It's a cool place.
What kind of ramen do you guys have on the menu? I know,
Well, we're gonna do the spicy ramen.
Yeah,
spicy
ramen challenge.
Yeah, so I had wanted to introduce the challenge for a while. Found out about him doing a podcast, and then I had asked him about it.
We're doing this?
Yeah, I know. I just fuck it.
All right, fuck it, we're doing this.
Well, I'm fucking hungry.
Oh, that ramen is so fucking good.
It's fucking good, but it's already like I'm already regretting it.
It's cool that it gradually kind of gets there, but
God damn, it's not that bad.
what you use is it like some secret menu?
I use a combination of fresh chilies and dry chilies.
One being a fucking scorpion chili.
Oh fuck.
Bird eye chilies
Now I'm starting to fucking burn.
Habaneros are always there.
and a regular miso paste mix.
Like I had turned her on at one point, and there's like sweat like coming down my neck. Chris Don is like heavily breathing and shit.
I love the way he boils the egg just enough, and the inside is still runny, so you get that soup in there. Oh my god, it's so good.
The whole time I was there, even though not seeing him for 10 years, it was easy to pick back up like we had just talked the day before.
Back in the day, Navarre used to guest spot every once in a while. Remember that?
Yeah, for show kids all day.
It felt like we were homies, all of us. Even though it was the first time I met these guys.
Let me know how your stomachs feel and your assholes feel later.
Yeah, I'll definitely put that on Instagram.
Yeah.
Send me a photo. Text us while you're on that shit.
Yeah, so we were on the show, having a good time, drinking a beer, and I'm over here thinking that shit, I can't wait to do the next one, or, And it's like you think you have time with people, you take shit for granted, and then they're gone.
Okay, fuck.
Well, we can let me just get a picture of you guys.
Now I just want to get drunk.
We recorded on a Friday. This is one of these days where like Saturday went by and Rev still hadn't given me the audio, and he calls me that night. He asked us to go over, and I said, "Oh man, like not this one. I'm going to bed." He says good night. He says how much he loves me and Ash, and he hangs up. We wake up. I call Rev like 3 or 4 times. He's not answering. We're hanging out. Actually, I get a DM from Orlando on Instagram. Tells me, give me a call right now. Here's my number. I need to talk to you. So I call him, and I'm like, what's up, Orlando? And he's like, hey, I need you to sit down, like wherever you're at. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm sitting down already, man. Like, what's up? And he's like, Rev's gone, man. And I'm like, what do you mean Rev's gone? Like, and he's like, he passed away. He's no longer with us, man. He's dead. The first reaction I had was, get the fuck out of here. Like, don't fuck with me like that. And he says, no, man, he's gone. Like, I wish I was fucking with you. I wish this was a joke, and it's not a joke. I go, I need to talk to you later. I hung up with him. And in my head, I was thinking, like, maybe Rev was playing this stupid joke on me, or like, let's see what Felipe thinks if I'm gone. But I knew it was true. I knew it was true. And my room, like I was sitting in my room, and I felt like the walls are just
closing in on me. Like I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I couldn't talk. I was just staring at a blank fucking wall. And everything just slowly starting unraveling. You know, everything started to unravel from there. Like,
I didn't believe it. I tried to call a couple of other people just to confirm that Chris was really gone.
I had to call him. I called his cell phone, nothing. Text him, nothing.
Once I processed it, I just like started to scream like, no, 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 no. It was one of those things that just hit me hard, man. Cause that was my dude, man.
I felt for Filo. I felt that there was a missing piece and I couldn't be there for him. And Chris was that missing piece too.
When I found out, you know, I was hurt and I could not sleep for like days. And I think a lot of people couldn't sleep for days. And, you know,
when it first happened too, the first person I called was Mike. I don't know what it was, but I know it wasn't Rev, but I had to hear Mike. And I remember this very clearly. He said, "These guys play too fucking much."
We had partied the night before. Well, the next day, one of our friends, she had called me and she was like, let's get some fucking tequila on me. I was like, you know what? I got shit else to do. It's fucking COVID. I'm down. Like, Rev was, he would try to stay firm, but we had a way of breaking him real quick. Especially me. I would convince him like, oh, stop being a bitch, bro. We do this shit all the time. Like, what's the worst that could happen? So our friend, she ended up passing out from drinking too much, not eating anything. It was just me and Don with the fucking ball of tequila sipping. Of course, when we get, you know, frosty like that, he never wanted to come straight through with it and say, let's do drugs. Or he used to say, my nose is starting to itch, bro. And he would like send me like a mountain or like some dude skiing. He'd send me something like that to be like, oh, this motherfucker. The first bag went by without a fucking scratch. And he looked at me and he kind of gave me that look, and I gave him a symbol. I was like, oh, you think what I'm thinking, huh, dog? And I remember he came up and I said, oh, you got a little bit before you got here, huh, motherfucker? And he was like, you know your boy, dog. So he gave me a little key bump and I was like, all right, I'll meet you in the room. And I remember I walked in the room and I saw him at his desk doing that. And yeah, that was the last time I saw him alive. When I blacked out, I must have hit the floor. I don't really remember what happened after that. I just... Of all the souls I have encountered in my travels, his was the most human.
There's this really great old analogy I heard once about death. It's like you're at this huge party and someone taps you on the shoulder and says, well, you know, it's time to go. You can't be here anymore. And that the saddest part of that isn't the fact that, obviously you're going to miss everyone, but that you won't get to see what happens next. The party's going to go on without you. I don't think that was the case with Chris. I think Chris took a lot of the party with him.
A couple days after, I felt that I cannot grieve right now. Like, my time will come later. But then, I started waking up to all this, like, Reverend lives forever and all these, like, posts that people were putting up. I started thinking about everything that we've done together. And so I get this thought of, like, what about the podcast? And I felt like it was really early. And I was like, fuck the podcast. Why should I even care about it? It's not going to be the same. And then Tuesday comes around and we go to his apartment where he passed away. His family was going to go to pick up his stuff from his room. As we were loading the truck with all his stuff, his Uncle Mike and his cousin were like, we've never met you before, but you're for the podcast, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm Filo. So they tell me, like, so what's going to happen with the podcast? I go, I don't know. Like, I thought that I don't know if I want to continue without Chris, but I know he would want me to, and I don't know what to do. And so Uncle Mike was like, you need to continue. Like, the family wants you to see you keep going. When he said to keep going, I thought to myself, they're right. Like, Chris wouldn't want me to stop. Chris, the Rev, is no longer with us, at least physically. But his spirit lives on through this show. So I put something together for everybody who was a part of the show or just influenced it in any way. So I'm going to let you guys hear from them.
I don't really have a story that could define who Chris is.
He was really funny.
He was a big doofus.
He was the best storyteller.
He swears he was the funniest person.
He was such a good musician. He had a wonderful voice.
He'd bleed the blues.
He knew a lot about a lot.
He was such an influence to all of us.
He was talking to us more of like a mentor figure.
He was dependable.
Super encouraging.
He'll make you crack jokes about himself.
Outgoing.
Talk shit about Felipe.
Talented.
Charismatic.
Sweet man.
Chris, to me, was my older brother.
I always consider him my brother.
He was my brother.
I love you, Rev.
Really one of the best guys I've ever met.
Like a brother.
He was just the best of people.
And then I want to tell him thank you.
Thank you for being the friend and the person that he was.
When he died, the world was robbed of something he could have given it.
And to me, he'll always be just one of the most successful people I've ever known.
And he really was a reverend.
But to give you one story to show all that, it's not possible, man. I mean, damn.
The only thing I could do is just think of everything that made me smile.
I love him.
If you could only see all the love we have for you.
That I'll never forget him.
All this is because of you. And I want to continue to do that. And, you're gone, but you're not gone. You're still here with me.
We were going to talk about the meaning of life or whatever. My grandpa, he's lived this very long life and has a million stories that he's told me. When he tells me that when his grandchildren started to be born, like me and my cousins and my brother and my sister, that he found like this new lease on life. In his 80s, the same thing kind of happened. He found this new lease on life where now he gets to see his great-grandbabies, you know what I'm saying? So he just loves his life. He loves being alive. He loves, being able to see all the things that he's able to see. He's been alive fucking...
And how do you feel? Because I know you told me, like, you don't want to get old. Chris has always told me he hates getting old. He hates the white hairs he has. He never saw himself living past 30. He always thought, I'm a rock star. Like, I should have died at 27. I wanted to die at 27 so bad. I missed my date.
On a hot summer night, a hard-partying amateur blues man named Robert Johnson meets Papa Legba, the devil at the crossroads. There, at midnight, Legba offers Johnson what he desires most, fame and mastery of the guitar in exchange for a soul. Months later, Johnson reemerges and invents the modern blues sound. But in 1938, at the height of his fame, Johnson succumbs to a mysterious poisoning, becoming the first in a long line of musicians and entertainers to die at age 27.
It's very tasty.
Thank you. That's what we try to do. We want to, I want to make sure it tastes good. I just don't want to hurt you.
See, like, here's what I would do. Like, if I was on death row, I would have this as my last meal, and I'll tell you why.
In the interview, we talk about like him going to the ICU because of ramen, and we're joking and talking shit.
There was like a lot of somber talk, or a lot of like talk about death.
The only thing in life that we're gonna do successfully and be the best at is dying.
Jesus Christ. You're gonna die really soon. I mean, that shit's coming like a fucking runaway freight train. You better get on it.
There's definitely a lot of things that Chris said about, you know, his fears and shit like that on the show.
He's so paranoid about getting spiked like that.
Yeah, one of his greatest fears was being spiked.
It's like a irrational fear.
Almost. Like, I know we were joking about it, but for it to kind of happen like right after, like hours after we're talking about that shit is pretty crazy.
We're gonna wrap it up because I'm gonna think I'm gonna die.
I'm just like, oh my God.
It's like drugs. Everybody makes the same mistake. I feel really good right now. If I do more, I'll feel even better. Yeah.
His drug dealer song, his cocaine songs he used to sing.
It's a thin line between awesomeness
or a big line. It depends.
Right. Well, it depends.
Depends on what. And I was like, was this feel like foreshadowing shit that he didn't even know was gonna happen? You know?
It's like he was preparing me for his demise.
I don't want to say destiny, but these are things that are manifested with the energy sometimes.
Paranormal shit really freaks me out.
Words are powerful. You can never go outside in your life, but if you make some hard ass I go outside music, you may live your lyric one day. Before I had the braids and stuff, I had like a little cut. He used to call me Kobe. No nigga ever in my life called me Kobe. And I'm like, dang, like Kobe and Rev passed the same year.
Ever since Kobe died, shit has just been snowballing. Like, I don't think we've recovered.
That is crazy.
Maybe Kobe was the final Illuminati sacrifice.
I mean, it's definitely one thing to look back on those types of things and be like, okay, it's a foreshadowing, but you know, ultimately it was a total surprise, and like no one really could have seen that coming, you know.
I'll say this about my grandfather to top it off. He inspires me to get old. He makes it look fun, but every once in a while, he'll say to me, sometimes I wish that I could have died instead of your grandmother, because it really makes me sad that she can't see all the stuff that I get to see.
Although Rev missed his date, he nonetheless joins the roster of a diverse and unique group of notable people who passed away at the age of 31.
What is time? What do you think time is?
Love, pass me one of them Modelo's.
Hey, if you're ready backwards, I like to drink a lot of them.
All right, we're gonna start recording.
That's a good ass intro.
So, everybody remember J-Rev?
Yeah, we got to keep going in honor of Rev.
Hey man, fucking good.
He's the reason we all started this, you know.
I would say this is the first time that we've all been together since Rev's been gone. So happy to have you back, man. Cheers.
You're the lights.
Salud, man.
It's just non-descriptive beer.
You know, we owe Chris that to actually keep moving on.
It was difficult because now it's like Felipe is like has to become Rev and Filo.
So me and Filo are expecting again.
Woke up on the wrong side of mama's bed. She always told me, son, you better know before I'm dead that those who don't work are those who don't eat. Yeah, so you better find a way to keep yourself on your feet.
If the entire universe was, let's just say hypothetically, the music center, something that was essentially just a job, the Rev and Filo show sort of takes the best parts of whatever the music center was and then setting it aside as a place that's just for you, that's just for your friends, that's just for people that know you.
You know, it's crazy how it all works, that like him and Felipe just kind of planned so much of the future of it and now helps Felipe be able to like carry it on through.
Time's passing, don't leave me behind. I'm searching for my own road, but it's so
You know, he's gonna be carried on, and I think it's definitely important that we do it in every which way possible. You know, he's not going anywhere.
what my mama said, yeah.
There's been days where it just gets to you, like his life was getting so much better while I was just doing the same old shit. Like, why am I still here when this guy who had the talent, the potential to do anything he wanted, like why? What's the reason for it? You never get answers to your questions. You just want to go and keep living as best as you can.
I think about him all the time. I think about him every day.
I believe he's with me every day with the lessons he taught me, with the smiles he gave me, with the memories.
I just think the legacy that he left behind was his stories and himself.
I think you're going to get to know him through the podcast. That's the best part.
In a way, really fortunate that we do have a full catalog and a full record of what he believed, of what he thought, of what he argued for, of what he loved, of what he hated, and it's all online. If any of us can leave behind anything like a legacy, I think that's what constitutes it for Cristal.
Time is that little feeling inside where you're like, oh shit, what the fuck am I doing with my life? That's time.
Like, we did a few episodes after Chris passed away, and like, it felt good to do them again. It felt fun, but it felt very, and it still does, like, it felt very empty. I think maybe I moved too fast. Maybe I moved too fast after Chris's passing. It's almost like I'm still in like this grieving stage, but like I feel it's kind of dumb because it's been so long, but I don't know how to handle it. And then I talked to Ash, and I told her like, hey, I think I can't do it. I'm really not ready. I think I never was ready, and I don't know when I'm gonna be ready. She just said, you know what, it's okay. Like, you don't owe anybody anything. Let yourself feel for your friend. I'm gonna put out an episode. I will put out an episode. It's gonna happen. Everything moves so fast, you don't realize some of the impact you do have on some people. I mean, it's like I said before, like, I want to leave something behind that people will remember and see and stuff. And maybe this is it in a very, very small way. Dave has a podcast. The Heights Garage, they started doing a podcast, and, you know, they did it because of the Rebel show. My son's friends are starting to see it. Ethan was like, hey, Dad, my friend wants to talk to you. And he goes, hey, I just wanted to tell you that I really, really like your podcast. They're really funny. When's the new episode coming out, though? It's always that.
I'm glad that this podcast has spoken to a lot of people.
It changed us all.
Treasure every moment. Don't wait. Express what you got in your soul to the world. Chris didn't, and luckily now we have what he left behind to enjoy.
Should I do one more?
Yeah, if you're down. Shit, I'm down to hear another one.
All right, I've done this a bunch of times, but I'll do it again. Oh, I wake up in the morning, the sun I hear the church bell ring. And you walk up to the table. You see the same old thing. Yeah, and I just want to tell you, I'm a pork in a pail. And if you say something about it, you'll be in trouble, man. 'Cause it's the midnight special. Shine your light on me. It's the midnight special. Shine your ever-loving light on me. Yeah, it's the midnight special. Shine your light on me, yeah. 'Cause it's the midnight special. Shine your ever-loving light on me, yeah. It's the midnight special. Shine your light on me, yeah. 'Cause it's the midnight special. Shine your ever-loving light on me. Oh,